Okay, so, my most popular video is about Swordigo. And since it's one of the most OG mobile games on the market coming out in 2012, in fact, it's in one of my top 5 video games of all time. So since I think the peeps that like that video would also like another Swordigo video, so here's another one. Here's me trying to finish the game without any sort of armor. This video is going to be fun. And since I've played through this game about 6 to 8 times already, this will be easy. I think. After Hero, I'm gonna call him Hero, wakes up in the nighttime, I realized, fun fact, dude, I have no armor. In fact, for some of the parts of the game, you don't actually have armor. So I'll be skipping about 10 to 20% of this game since you don't have armor for a bit. The first place you're allowed to get armor is the city of Swordigo. I think that's the name, I don't know. So I'll skip to the point where I'm there. Alright, so I decided to get 100% of every other stage before the city. So I had stocked up on rubies, so in case I needed money to buy swords and stuff. The first thing I decided to do is buy a trinket of fire and a broadsword. Since I haven't gotten the trinket of fire yet, I found that this was the best time. This is the only place where you can get the broadsword, so same thing can't be said for it. Not that I think there is no reason for me to get the trinket of ice. I mean, unless I'm using it, but I don't really think that I am, because there's 3 trinkets. The fire, ice, and shadow trinket. And you usually have 3 things that you can use the trinkets for. But for the whole challenge, I only have 2. The swords and the spells. One slot is usually the armor, and people usually tend to put the the shadow trinket on the armor because it heals you. But I can't actually get healed. I've had it on every single one of my items, from my sword to my magic spells. I never got healed. So one trinket's got to be completely useless since I can't use it. I'll occasionally switch with them, but not right now. That's what I got. If we didn't put the Mario 64 sound file select music in the back. Going to the guard tower wasn't too hard since I had a good sword that in usual playthroughs I would actually just had to buy the plate armor instead. But I was able to get through the enemies faster than I thought. I died while trying to fight the red sorcerer. On the next attempt I was able to finish it though. After getting into the dungeon and completely skipping whatever the heck the king has to say, I beat this game multiple times and I know what to do, so whatever. And dying from a knight, I was able to get underground. After that, I decided to jump over a knight to avoid getting killed by it since I didn't have much hearts. Next up was the Overseer's Lair. I was able to beat this before on a previous playthrough that I didn't finish the day before. I did the stage. I lost most of my health on the first segment of the boss. Thankfully, the next segment is the most simple one. You can literally just shoot multiple magic bolts at the Overseer and not move unless you need more energy, as in those blue spears. At the final section, I only have 1 heart, so I decided to just switch to the fire to my sword to my spells, so I could stay far away and shoot my magic bolts at the boss. Fire is the most powerful, so that's why I decided to just switch it to my magic bolts instead of the sword. After that, the boss was history, and I got the second shard of the Mega Blade. I said second because you get the first one before you can unlock any kind of armor. And also, I think they call it the Mage Blade, but I like the Mega Blade more. So, let's move on. The Wastelands is the largest part of the game, resulting in lots more enemies and more annoying design. I don't have much fun playing this part of the game, like much others. Which, yeah, makes sense, but that didn't really make it fun, even if it was logical. In the outside of Swordigo, I decided to get the first piece of treasure. The Waste Walkers do 2 hearts of damage. It really sucked to get hit by one of the Waste Walkers, especially since I didn't have much hearts at the time. I started to get a healing potion, but guess what? Multiple times that I was trying to get another sword, I would die. I didn't have any armor to protect myself, so it was insanely hard. So I just decided to not get the other sword that I was planning on getting. Instead, I decided to get the thorn instead. I did it with a little small glitch. I decided to literally just shoot my bolts at the skeleton while standing in the same spot the whole time in the room when you get the thorn. It wasn't the best choice, but it worked. So at some point when I was in the caves, I only had half a heart. But when you fall down, you take a route in the specific part of the cave, you lose a heart. If you go left or right, you don't lose a heart, but no. If you fall down, you lose a heart. And I fell down and died with just half the heart while Hero was literally still standing. It sucked. So yeah, traveling the game wasn't fun. After that, for some reason, my footage literally just stopped working, so I can't really say much else. But for what I can say, the Wastelands is possible to beat. So let's get to the fiery depths and be one step closer to finishing this gauntlet of a challenge. Fiery Depths is a fairly small part of the game. There's not really much besides a 7-minute dungeon that doesn't take much time to complete, as you'd expect, since it's only 7 minutes compared to the others. The first thing I decided to do was get some treasure in case I needed more health potions, and I ran out of rubies. I mean, they call them soul shards, but the pieces of the Mega Blade are just called regular shards, so I don't want to confuse them. And I've been playing. Well, I used to play some others at Ocarina of Time, so I'm just calling them rubies, so whatever. But back to what I was doing. So I was getting treasure, and there was a Magmadar guarding it. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but whatever. It's not much of a problem though, and though it does shoot fireballs, little balls in quotations. But the Magmadar takes about 3 hits with the thorn. And the next few sections didn't really matter since I'm a god of platforming games and I didn't fall into the lava. The first burning charge didn't do much, but I did get hit once by the next one. That didn't really mean much though, since it only does 1 heart of damage compared to the other enemies from the Wastelands. I literally just forgot their name. The spinning flames almost hit me, but it was pretty easy to deal with. I got the treasure on the bottom part with I guess well hidden secret. For me, he's been playing this game since 2015. It's not really that well hidden, but whatever. The next room has raising lava, and you have to do this section to unlock a new spell. You're required to do it, and you can't skip it. On the first attempt, I literally just fell into lava. I lost a whopping 4 hearts after I ended up falling on a spinning rock and died. My next attempt was much easier. I got hit by a few fire blobs a few times, which is kind of pathetic, honestly. But it didn't really matter since only 3 hearts were taken from me, and I went to the master and got my dragon's gasp spell. Every section with the dragon's gasp is simple. Well, maybe besides the section on the screen where I had to wait for the fire blobs to wait since I didn't want to get hit, but that was still simple when you think about it. It just took a while for me to wait. I got the treasure and then shot some magic bolts at the statue of the bat to get the key. I found this part annoying as crap when I was younger, but now that I think about it, it's not really hard at all. I lost the majority of my health standing at 1 heart, so when I went to the healer's house, I got all my hearts back there. The boss of the Fiery Depths is as easy as it always is. Mostly. At first I wasn't losing my hearts, but on the second phase of the boss, it got me down to just 1.5 heart. The Wastelands was way more annoying than fun, but since the Fiery Depths is more simple, I found it to be fun actually. So let's move on to the Icy Cave, and the Fiery Depths was pretty easy. Okay guys, so this is where the really annoying crap starts. I thought the Wastelands was bad, but dang dude, the first segment, I got some rolling freaking ice balls, dude, and that didn't really stop me too much, to be honest. I decided to take the left route on the top, and oh boy did I freaking regret that. When I got into the infested cave, in quotations, as they call it, I was immediately swarmed by snowbugs. Immediately. The only reason I even took that route was because I thought that I remember there being a sack of experience there. Which means I can just easily level up my magic, my swords, and, you know, basically everything else. I don't really know. But it turns out, there's rubies. I wasted all of my time and got myself down to 1 heart. After that, I died from a rolling ice ball shortly after while getting the gold boulder. I decided to just get it while being a good idea to jump into this random part in the right direction. Right, not left, right. And thank God I didn't fall, because I would have gotten destroyed later. As very much expected at this point. Thankfully, I ended up getting a sack of experience at some point, thankfully, but it didn't really help me out that much as I thought it would. When I got to the nest of the queen, the first thing I did was replace the shadow trinket with the fire one on my magic spells. The magic bolt specifically, the fire does the most damage, so it made sense. But that only got him down to about 33% health. I tried to pull out my sword to quickly kill the queen, but I very quickly died. On my next attempt, I decided to get a healing potion, but when I got down to 2 hearts of health, I decided to just try to use it, but I was too late. I died right before I could use it. On my next attempt, I thankfully was able to kill the queen, though. There was always this method that I used every single time I would play this game when I was younger. I would always throw the gold boulder at this one slope because it would always kill the snowbugs. And I used it here. It's a useful method and saved me multiple hearts, and it worked. The next time I used the method, it wasn't as useful though. The slope isn't nearly as big, so I didn't get enough speed to actually kill all the snowbugs, since they could literally just jump over it and then not be phased at all. I lost 3 hearts for them, but it wasn't that big of a deal, thankfully. Before I got into the frozen temple, there Honestly, this is where the most interesting stuff happens so far. So I'll just skip to when I was in the Frozen Temple. Idigani the Deadly, aka the skeleton who shoots blue flames. He made me lose about 4 of my hearts, but it wasn't a very interesting fight. The next few sections weren't too interesting. A lot of them are literally just your basic platformer, kind of like Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze style. A few sections of that game, I don't even know what I'm saying at this point, but they weren't really that interesting. Other times you'd literally just be jumping on floating blocks. Other times you'd literally just be jumping on thousands of floating blocks that are icy as crap and you easily die. It's not really interesting at all sometimes. So I'm just gonna skip to where some actually entertaining / interesting stuff happens. While getting the Dimension Rift, this corruptor kept locking onto me. I eventually was able to kill it though, thankfully. The actual mid-boss was lesser corruptor. It wasn't really too interesting. Now the real boss of this dungeon. And holy F, was this crap the most annoying part of everything that has happened to me so far in this freaking challenge. To start off, the boss hits you with a hammer. If he does, it takes away 4 of your hearts. And I only had 9. So if I just got hit 2 times, that sucked really bad. And at that point, I might as well really just quit. That's what it did multiple times. If I lost hearts, I was still able to hit the boss's shield and get some more out of it, but it kept just giving me magic orbs. The amount of times I had to just keep jumping on this one slope and staying there to make sure that my magic bar fills up so I could use my Dimension Rift, it was insane. And if I was able to get the rift ready, right after I'd use it, I'd get hit with a hammer and either get down to 1 heart or die entirely. It was also annoying when he'd send out his snow bugs. Granted, they literally just give you hearts and magic orbs if you kill them. It's still annoying to deal with since the boss would only send out 2 at a time. So even that wouldn't even really do much, even if they only gave me hearts, because I would always be down to 1 heart, and if I got 2 max hearts, which is already on itself very rare, then I'd only have 3 hearts, which doesn't help since the boss takes 4 hearts away from you if he hits you with a hammer, so I would die regardless, even if I got the hearts from the bugs or not. Here's my final winning attempt, and I can't physically explain how annoying and tedious this was in just words. Yeah, that sucked insanely hard. After that, I was able to get the Mega Blade with no armor. And here's what it looks like. Yeah, pretty odd since it's already uncommon to see people with a plate armor having the Mega Blade in hand, but seeing somebody with no armor is just downright 99.8% uncommon to see. Let's move on to the final world, the End's Keep. Alright, the End's Keep. At first, there was no problems really. I just had to knock back the flames, which was easy. But when it got into a certain room that had a corruptor, 2 hits, and I was a goner. The other section wasn't that hard. There was only a section in the first room that gave me problems. But for some reason, I lost all of my other footage. I pressed record, but the phone decided to just stop recording and not inform me about it. Thanks, iPhone. Thanks a lot. So, I was telling you I'm gonna have to skip to the final boss. Okay, so the first phase. It's simple enough. I died multiple times on it, but it's not too interesting. The flames only do around 18 to 24% of damage against the boss. And for the final phase, I didn't beat it. But I have a good reason to say that the challenge is still possible. There's a glitch. Okay, so the reason that I'm taking advantage of this glitch is because I'm being a puss and not finding the boss. It's because the Master of Chaos does a ludicrous amount of damage when he hits you when you have no armor. It really sucks. And though I'm not able to pull off this glitch myself, here's some footage to show that it's actually possible. Yeah, so it's possible to be Swordigo without any armor? Freaking yes. Now, would I recommend doing this, even if you've been playing this game for 6 years? Absolutely not. There's way too many tedious parts of this challenge. The amount of damage you lose from the enemies in the second world, the Wastelands, I have to do in the challenge, it's just insane. So thank you for watching this video. This was probably my favorite one to do, actually. It was mostly fun. very tedious, honestly. But my least favorite was definitely Minecraft tour without touching a single one of the blocks. So again, thank you for this and watching, and look at another one on screen. And peace.